should not. Why did they have that guy coaching?
Speak of England, England releases their roster tomorrow.
Really? Wales is out. Iran is not.
England is released tomorrow.
England will release theirs tomorrow. Why is it? Why do they get to release theirs later? Like, is there some sort of like gamesmanship there? What's going on?
I don't know, but all the rosters are. It's up to the coaches. All of the rosters have to be announced by Monday, the 14th, and they have to be given to FIFA by Monday. That's what I read anyway.
Man, DPG is so down. I feel so bad, man.
He's really down. I'm starting to get hyped.
I feel like this team is underperformed because it's an amalgamation of a bunch of kids. And that's what I mean by, like, they're all talented. And actually with this roster, it's other than Aaron Long, who's going to, when he plays, he's going to make life harder by giving up goals. But
I wish Gregg Berhalter would see that.
I wish Gregg Berhalter was not the coach.
Oh, agreed. But
that's my issue, I guess.
It's whatever, man. Like, at least he figures it out at halftime. Unfortunately, like, I'd rather not come from behind. But Bob was pretty good with that too, of us going behind early and figuring it out in the second half.
That's the question. Would I want Bob to be the coach of this team too? Right?
Nah, Bob's message is stale. Like, we're gonna see. Well, I'll put it this way: we'll see what happens in Toronto this year. You know, my opinion is we'll see something different. But
who was the head coach of the 2014 squad?
Jurgen.
Was that Klinsmann?
Yeah.
Who was before him?
Bob Bradley.
How many cycles did he last?
1.5.
Why do I feel like Bruce Arena coached a World Cup?
He did, 2006.
He did?
And 2020 or 2002 and 2006.
So he's the only one to last 2 full cycles then.
Yeah, which obviously didn't work out, man, because we were stale in 06.
I like Bruce Arena. Should have never been national team coach though.
Well, not for that caretaker role.
Not for the caretaker role. That they should have given it to somebody new, some new blood.
I mean, I would have even taken Saracen at that point.
They should have taken Velko Paunovic off the Fire's hands.
Oh my God! You shut your whore mouth.
After the World Cup,
I'm just trying to save the Fire here.
Do you guys think after the World Cup, do you think that they'll approach Jesse Marsch?
Yes, they have to.
They have to, but I think he'll turn it down, man. Like I don't. I'll put it this way: if we were 6 more years away from that World Cup and not 4. I think Marsch would be the coach. But I feel like timing-wise, he's got to strike while the iron's hot to become a solid, like European, get a job here or there. Like Roma's struggling, they hire him. Who, Munich needs somebody, they hire him. What I mean?
But singular opportunity to be the coach of America when they're on American soil, having the World Cup on American soil. That opportunity... I think Jesse Marsch will be like, I'm the best coach in America. I should have that role. And then after I could parlay it into anything I want. I'll go coach Real Madrid after that.
What happens when he finishes? What happens when he finishes 14th this year and then finishes 8th next season? You know what I mean?
But then he didn't. But that means he didn't get fired this season, which he was on the verge just 3 weeks ago.
And I will say this.
That'd be very impressive.
I'm going to say this. I'm not trying to be an apologist.
Right.
But like he was only on the hot seat because you can't fire the team. Actually, the biggest son of a you-know-what on the planet is Patrick Bamford. That man is ruining Jesse Marsch because
the bitch can't score.
Right. If Bamford was anything like he used to be, Marsch would look like a freaking genius. But he has no striker.
Who else does he have that he could call on?
Nobody. They gotta buy somebody. They gotta buy somebody in January. That's the problem. Bamford just keeps playing and keeps sucking, and because that's the thing. There was never a question about his tactics. There was never a question about the motivation of the players. It's just the scoring. Like that's it. And so, literally, Patrick Bamford almost ruined this job for this man.
Yeah.
And that's why they gave him more opportunities, because he's building something. The problem is if you get relegated, it's hard to build. So you got to at least finish right outside the relegation zone. I don't know. That's how I feel, because I don't think Jesse Marsch, despite being on the hot seat or close to losing his job, ever was actually thought of as a bad manager. It was just like something had to change to shake up the team.
Before we get into the midfielders, because we still have not gotten to the midfielders or forwards, but how soon are we firing Gregg? Realistically,
after the World Cup.
I know I want to, but
no, listen, let him come home.
When do you think that they fire him realistically? Although knowing that all of us would fire him literally the moment that the World Cup ends for the U.S. Like literally call him up, say thank you for your services. All right, we'll see you next year. We're bringing in new blood.
Nine days after the World Cup, what's going to happen is they're going to come home. They're going to throw a little party at Grant Park, and because they're going to get out of the group, and it's going to be like, "Yay, we were successful!" And it's like, "See you later."
Well, teams have to stay at Qatar for the whole tournament.
Oh, for real?
Unless you get knocked out of the group stage, and then sayonara. But if you move on to the round of 16, the further you move on, the more you have to stay.
Interesting.
That's wild, man.
So like as soon as you get knocked out, you can go see you later.
Man, that's kind of weak, actually. I would say you give them a week after the World Cup, because they're going to definitely come home. Because here's the thing, I do think this team's getting out of this group. So they're going to come in like quarterfinals or better, in my opinion, is a dub. If they lose in the round of 16, it's not it's not like a disaster, but it's like, you know what I mean? But like not getting out of the group is a disaster. So what they're going to do is they're going to get out of this group, and no matter what happens, quarters, round of 16, semis, whatever, they're going to pretend like it was a success and throw a little party and pat them on the back, and then like a couple of days later, they'll cut them loose. At least I hope so. Jesus, it never.
It's like an exam. The World Cup qualifying was your midterms, and now you're at the World Cup, which is your final.
That's a good point.
Nobody. Okay.
Yeah, we got it. That's a good call. Moving on to midfielders. Brendan Aronson of Leeds United, Jesse Marsch. Tyler Adams of Leeds United. Kellen Acosta of LAFC. Did he even start the other day?
Oh, shut up. He scored the first goal of MLS Cup.
Dude, let's talk about MLS Cup here before we continue.
I didn't watch it, so I got nothing to...
You didn't watch the greatest game in MLS history? What the is wrong with you? You go watch that on repeat. Go check it out. Go watch the highlights.
I saw the...
Neo Tokyo, was that the greatest game in MLS history? Or MLS final history? Which one would you pick?
That's hard. There was the one in LA where the Jamaican keeper got injured and Saunders came in and won, where like you had the 3 DPs contribute to like a beautiful goal. There was another really good one. I mean, the first one was pretty good, honestly, DC and LA. But I mean, it's hard to argue against it, but it does kind of suck when a game goes to penalties. Think about how much cooler the Nations League game is, because Horvath saved that penalty and it didn't go into penalties, than like when you do penalties and it's just like, I mean, you know what?
Like
there was that
goal.
other one.
I prefer golden goal as a format.
I hate that. I hate that.
Penalties are pure luck, honestly. They really are.
I don't know, man. I would contest that. Like,
no,
I think
quite
you're
a bit
right.
Of skill.
I think that's the best one. I mean, what was the one where Kansas City had the double post? You know what I mean? Ooh. Like, there's been some good ones, dude.
Good
like,
games.
Oh, remember Matt? Oh, dude, James. I don't know how long ago you came on, but you remember Matt Kanji like just snapping his leg in half and winning it for Colorado in the most boring one in history.
I'm gonna look that up right now.
It was FC Dallas versus Colorado Rapids in Toronto, in just freezing temperatures. It was awful. But like,
wait, FC Dallas versus Colorado Rapids in Toronto.
Correct.
Huh?
Yeah, that was back when they used to do the neutral site for the MLS Cup, and it was like back when like they didn't have even divisions, so like it'd be like you'd have like the top 3 from each division from East and West, and then like almost like baseball wild card style afterward, and then like so you had FC that was the baby Stallions, bro. That was that Breck Shea, Dax McCarty, David Ferreira. Who else was on that team? But like but Colorado had Connor Casey and Omar Cummings, and Matt Kanji came in, the guy who used to play for the Red Bulls forever, scores a goal and just snaps his twig.
How do you spell Kanji's name?
Hold on, my nails are wet. Hold on.
No worries, Kanji. Kanji.
It's like Maka Kanji or something. He played for New York forever. I'm
just trying to find it, but no worries. But so he came in, destroyed. So that's one of the most memorable games. This game had everything. This to me, it had everything. It had the beginning, it had a middle, and then it had the end of all endings. Like that was one of the best endings in MLS. And Gareth Bale was the architect. It was just
I couldn't believe that. It made me a little sad. I like Philly. I like what Philly's doing. I like what Philly's done.
Philly was definitely, if you're rooting for MLS, you're rooting for Philly. If you're rooting for international soccer, you're rooting for LAFC.
I don't hate LAFC either. It's awesome to see a team so ambitious, right? But like I like how Philly, everybody forgets, before we got Shabilko and stuff, right? Like Philly had a good season and they signed a DP, Gazdag. And I don't know if you remember, but he came off the bench. He never played. And they were just like, why is he so bad? He's the DP. And they stuck with it because, dude, this league is hard for newcomers, man. MLS is hard for newcomers. It takes a minute to acclimate yourself to
unless
everything.
Your name is Cucho Hernandez.
Cucho did land.
Debut.
That's true. He did land and just off to the races for him.
But yeah, it was a pretty good one, man. I'm trying to be hesitant to call it the best one because I feel like I've enjoyed other ones more. But then again, I had to leave like before. Like I actually didn't see the last half of extra time. Actually, I had to go to a birthday party and proceeded to get foggy enough to not remember that the game had been on, and I had to check it in the morning.
Oh snap! Well, I got to say props to MLS for having a super boring playoff to the point where like a giant taco was like the highlight of the playoffs. But the MLS Cup final was truly the best great game of MLS of the 2022 season, and that I think makes it a success. I was going on last podcast saying I think that the MLS should do away with the playoffs just to make it so that the Eastern Conference winner meets the Western Conference winner, so we have this type of situation every season.
Like a pennant style thing, man.
In a pennant. That's what I'm saying. Like they won the pennant, so like why not see the pennant winners play each other?
So you're saying, then if you're saying that, then we might as well go European style. Whoever has the most points at the end of the season.
But that's the thing. It's not full European style. We have European style at the end of the season. All right, our two best teams are LAFC and Philadelphia, and or this season, right? Or no, it was whatever it was. What was it? Philadelphia. And who had the best record overall?
LAFC.
So LAFC wins the Community Shield. All right, boom. So they're the best team. Blah blah blah. But then there it is. There's the playoffs. The Eastern Conference plays the Western Conference. And like I said, I was talking about this last time. Like they have to figure out the schedule so that it's a little bit more like makes sense for that, because it's not currently doesn't make sense for that. But man, that would make it exciting. That would make sense to winning. Hey, you win your division, you win your conference. That would make every game of MLS much more competitive because there's nothing on the line. It's just like, we just got to make playoffs and then we'll get there. Well, guess what? No, you don't. You have to win MLS to be the team featured at the end of the season as our golden child.
I will say this, man. I like. Here's the thing. I have been a MLS. Like, I've been a Fire supporter, right? Like, but I am definitely the one weird fan that will watch an MLS game that I'm a neutral for.
No, that's not weird. Tokyo, that's not weird. There is fun, good soccer to watch in MLS. I as a neutral, we can watch LAFC's, once Leo Messi arrives, we'll be able to watch those games. There's guys out there to go watch for sure.
Well, I truly believe this. This is how I truly feel. Is like, I have enjoyed the playoffs. I would rather, though, my desire would be to go to a more European thing. And I think, again, with the travel, the only way you could do it would be your idea of, like, you have the East and West winners, then play off in, like, one big game for the cup.
Exactly. It would make sense.
But do you know what else that would do that you're not even thinking, like a secondary reaction to that?
What do you think?
It would make the US Open Cup the one playoff thing, and it would be so much better.
Oh, you just hit it. Okay. Guys, cook, clip, stream, send it to Carlos, send it to everybody. Because I think we just saved US soccer right there.
Well, it's not curing cancer, but I do still feel good about it.
No, that saves US soccer. That makes MLS more premier. Because guess what? Hey, you win your Western Conference, you win Eastern Conference, you're in the championship game, buddy. Bucko, get ready. You're the featured game of the year. That's what I want to see. And then on top of that, like you just said, MLS Cup, there's your quasi playoffs. There's your feeling the muck and the chaos.
Yeah, you'd have no more Bruce Arena ruining the US Open Cup by not trying.
No more.
You know what I mean? You would, like, it would make it more fun for the oh my god, I almost said NASL. For the USL teams, it would make it more fun for, like, lower divisions. Like, I do, like, I love the Open Cup, man. I'm not against playoffs, but that's where you have them, man. Have the Open Cup. Then you could even have your stupid combined thing with Mexico, and that would still be fun because that would be like playoffs.
You know what?
But then again, like, I take that back.
Well,
I take that back because I hate anything we do as a league with just Liga MX because I want to see the Champions League get better. I want like, that's why I hate people who have the idea like, dude, the US and, you know, North and South America should just mold together because it'll make us a better team. It might, but it'll never improve Honduras. It'll never improve Curacao. I would rather see North America as a whole improve to where it's way more exciting. You know what I mean? Like how Europe is. They've got rivalries from soccer to cricket to wars. Like, and so do we in North America, but that's not even, like, you don't even get that kind of excitement about it because these tournaments or these things are not as well respected. Like, you know, the Gold Cup would be a way bigger deal if they didn't do it every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we totally digressed from Kellen Acosta being named to the roster.
No. We did, though, on purpose. But we did. We said we were going to talk about that first, and we were gonna matriculate back to. See,
I'm just gonna have this.
By the way, Connor, chat was saying that they agree with you, Connor. That penalty kicks are total luck. Penalty kick is like 71% expected goal rate.
See, even they agree with me. Anyway, I was about to say that I wish my brain worked the way Tokyo's does. You know what I'm trying to get at? Anyway.
Smoke a few more bowls.
Among other things.
I feel like Tokyo every time before he comes on the show, I feel like he just does a line of cocaine.
No,
like,
dude.
Okay.
Okay, if that cocaine is power, is code for power, yes.
Oh, sorry. I said the C word.
Yeah, we're getting dinged for no. The way I control
James, that was a nice channel you had there.
Yeah, man. Oh man, YouTube's coming after me for this one right now already. They're like drug paraphernalia. I hear people smoking in the background. Like, what's going on here? Spitting fire.
No, I live in an apartment. I can't smoke in here.
No, dude. I wasn't even calling you out. I was just being hilarious, facetious, and. But no, and we did digress from the midfielders, but that was on purpose. We'll get back into that, and that's because we were purposely going to the direction we were going. All right, so back to the midfielders.
I didn't mean to get you shadow banned.
I just got popped. No, I'm good. Brendan Aronson from Leeds United, Tyler Adams from Leeds United. I like the Leeds United connection there. Kellen Acosta from LAFC, that's where we got hung up, and we got pulled into the LAFC versus Philadelphia MLS Cup action. That's where we got dragged into, like a black hole, but hey, it was a good black hole to be in. I'll get sucked into. I would get sucked into that black hole happily. That's a good black hole, that last MLS game.
That's what she said.
Moving on, Luca Teletorre of Celta Vigo is also amongst the midfielders. Weston McKennie, absolutely a starter. Juventus. Yunus Musa, Valencia, absolutely got to be starting. Now we're starting to reach problems here. Christian Roldan, he's my glue guy. Seattle Sounders. I'm starting Brendan Aronson on like a wing, possibly in the midfield, but Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, Yunus Musa, and Brendan Aronson. I'm looking at those. Somewhere in those four are your 3 starting midfielders, 2 starting midfielders. What are you guys saying here?
I said it this way. I don't mind actually how he sets up. I think, again, with the amount of games crammed together, you have to rotate. And I feel just as comfortable with like the MMA midfield as I would with like Aronson in front of either Musa and Adams or McKennie and Adams, or Gio in front of either of those setups, right? Like whatever combination of those 3 is where it's at, and then you have Acosta there to give a break to somebody for one start, maybe against Iran. You know what I mean?
Wait, who's your 3 again? Who's your 3 starters?
Oh, I mean, you can do either like Musa, Adams, McKennie, or you could do
McKennie. Yeah, that makes sense.
Gio. You could do Gio, Adam, Musa.
You're throwing back there as as a 10.
Right, or Gio, McKennie, Musa, or McKennie and Adams, or you can do Aronson, McKennie and Adams, or Aronson and Musa and Adams. Like,
what about this? Do you play to Christian Pulisic's desire to pull back and put him as a 10, or do you try and get him out into the wing?
No, that's the whole point of not having a defensive outside back, is that both of our wing guys, Way is not as bad, but both of our main wing guys, and I will say, even though I would say Gio and Aronson might be more talented players than Weah, but Weah performs better on the wing than either of them within this setup of like with Pulisic on the other side. He just does. And I think that's the whole point of having Serginho Dest, Shaq Moore, Galley, and Anthony Robinson, is that you already know Weah and Pulisic are going to pinch in. That's where you keep your whip.
That's a good point.
So there's no reason to play Pulisic at the 10 unless, like, literally you're like, we're down by 2 and we need to win to get past. And
you're assuming that he's going to be on one of the wings, and he's going to be kind of pulling in as that second striker, so to speak, because they'll be running a single striker system with Haji Wright or. Well, we didn't get to strikers yet. We'll get there in a minute.
No, we'll get there. But yeah, you're right. He's going to pull in as a second striker. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to have, no matter who you have, because Musa doesn't get the credit for being a creative midfielder like
he strikes me as defensive.
Or Musa. He is, but he is so good on the ball. He doesn't necessarily need to make a killer pass. He just needs to dribble past a guy and make a smart pass. Mm-hmm. That's at least where I'm thinking with that. I'm excited about that whole setup. And then that's the thing, too, with Acosta. Like, no shade, man. Throw no shade Acosta's way. He is proven. Not only is he, like Carlos Vela stopped and did not. He faked like he was going to take a free kick and Acosta took it, right? Like we're like, there's respect in the world here for Kellen Acosta, and I think he's not a starter. He's not, but he definitely is a come in later in the game and save somebody from getting a second yellow, or like give somebody a rest so that we can lock down something defensively. Or if we are down, throw him in there. Like, you know, he can give you a lot of what Adams gives you, but what he also can do is he can do the free kicks. He can do the corners.
So that was my question to both of you guys who could answer this is, what does Kellen Acosta offer? Is he more of that physical guy? Is he more of that skill guy?
I say he's more physical, but skill on the, like, he's skill with his free kicks, but he's physical in the, you know, in the open play.
Fair. So that has me excited about our midfielders. I mean, Eunice, Adams, Brendan, like McKinney, like those guys, are they starting in England? No, but are they starting on other national teams that are at the World Cup? I think so.
I agree wholeheartedly.
So can I just point out something that I just realized is crazy to me?
Play it, please. Play it.
So I'm 19 years old. We have 3 guys on this roster who are also 19. Yunus Musa, Gio Reyna, and Joe Scally. That's
what the hell are you doing with your life?
Me.
No, I'm kidding.
Hey, I don't think I would be
that makes me wonder too.
No, I'm just pointing it out because it's just insane that a 19-year-old kid is a starter for the national. Well, not Joe Scally, but he's a starter for our team in the Bundesliga.
And even more insane is how many fans are upset that the coach of U.S. men's national team left home another 19-year-old in Ricardo Pepi. I mean, it's just like
Ricardo Pepi. All right.
I'm just saying, like, people are another 19-year-old that people in the U.S. men's national team that people are like up in arms about. Like, that's interesting. So there's talent on this club.
The thing about Pepi is, I like him, but Pepi has his whole career in front of him. That's what people fail to realize. I like Pepi.
19 years old.
It's insane. The thing about Pepi is, I don't know what it is about the national team, but he just can't translate his club form into the national team.
Well, hey guys, speaking of Pepi, we didn't even talk about forwards, but I will now. Let's bring in the forwards so we can bring in the Pepi talk, and we'll continue on to the Pepi talk. But to close, we got Jesus Ferreira, FC Dallas, Jordan Morris of Seattle Sounders, Christian Pulisic of Chelsea, Gio Reyna of Dortmund, Josh Sargent of Norwich City, Tim Weah, son of the great George Weah, over in Lille.
President Weah
of the
Liberia.
What is that? Liberia. Haji Wright of Antilospor, and that rounds out the forwards. And who was left out was who we're talking about, Ricardo Pepi.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, it just seems like to me when Pepi, his club form doesn't necessarily translate to the national team, and you can say that for a lot of players. But when I look at Pepi's still a young kid. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to not make runs. He's not. I don't know. I'm just going off the limb. Yeah, I'll let you guys have a say, and then once we get to Haji, right, I'll take it over from there.
All right. So we already spilled the beans on midfielders. We feel confident about midfielders. I also feel like I feel confident about our forwards. When I'm looking at Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna, and Tim Weah, like between those 3, I have a lot of confidence.
I would agree. Hold on, but we do got to shout out Luca De La Torre. I'm happy he's on this team.
Oh, I am so happy he's on this team. Okay, yes, go. Let's give a little De La Torre love. I was just gonna say,
like, I actually think there might be a few midfielders technically better than him, but what you saw was when he did integrate in the team, he definitely vibes with people, and he was ready to bust somebody's teeth out who was continually fouling Pulisic, and that's what you need as a bully sometimes, because you don't want Pulisic to have to throw down. You know what I mean? Like, and so I feel like I like that his inclusion. You know, again, we talked about the main starters, but like as far as ancillary players and players who are coming off the bench to give you something special in whatever situation you're in, I like De La Torre on this team.
When I first saw De La Torre's name, has he been called into every World Cup qualifying?
No, not at all. No, not at all.
Oh, is that sarcasm?
No, I'm pretty sure he barely got called into any of them. I think he only played like a 1-3 game period.
Okay, so when I first looked at Luca De La Torre, I was like, who? And then once I start actually seeing him play, it's like love at first sight. The kid is just so talented, and he's one of the fastest players on our team. I think his strengths are making runs. I think his hold-up play is pretty good. I don't know about you guys, but
dude's a fucking gamer. When I see Luca De La Torre, I see a fucking gamer. Dude's a fucking beast. He's not the best player on the pitch. I don't know what he is physically on the pitch. I don't know what he is mentally. I don't know what he is. All I know is every game that the U.S. men's national team played and that he was involved, I was walking away like, I want to see more De La Torre. I want to see more of what that guy has to offer, more of what that guy brings to the table. I want to see him being more featured at his club team. I want him to be in a better situation where he can gain confidence, because there's something special about him that I just can't put my finger on, but the kid gets soccer, gets it, and I'm so happy he's involved in this team. I'm so happy he's going to be going and getting the experience. Before we close out the forwards, I will say this. We'll get into disappointments, players who we wish were there after. So I was just saying that.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
All right, just to let you guys set the table. Go ahead.
So like Christian Roldan, though, real quick before we go to forwards, Christian Roldan, like what we all agree, he's got winning pedigree. He's young. He's not been to a World Cup like a Yedlin, but he's still an older guy. Not like old, but like older than the core.
Who would you rather take, Christian Roldan or Jordan Morris? I think I'd rather take Christian Roldan.
Well, if you had to make that choice, but you don't have to make that choice, because it's like it's completely two different conversations.
Right.
The real conversation is Roldan versus Malik Tillman, and we'll have that conversation in the disappointment period.
Did not make the cut. I didn't even think about that. We'll get into that more. Yeah, we'll get that to later. That's why I set that up.
I think Roldan is there because he's a veteran. And he's the guy that the guys respect. He's like a father figure to the younger guys.
A 29-year-old father figure. How isn't he young?
No, I think he's younger than that. I wouldn't say a father figure, but yet, like, I think he's a respected.
You get what I'm trying to say.
Yes, we do know what you're talking about. Like, I was just poking fun at that idea that a young guy is a father figure, but he is.
Going to go father figures now. I think the real father figures are Walker Zimmerman and Tim Ream. They're the two oldest guys on the team.
Nah, you know who it really is?
Who?
It's DeAndre Yedlin, because not only is he experienced and older, but he's also cool. And I think all those, like, you look at the pictures, you see people posting on Instagram anytime they find him out and about, anytime they played him out in Europe, now in MLS. These guys love DeAndre Yedlin.
Yedlin's 29 years old.
Right?
Did you know that?
Yeah, no, Yedlin's still got some juice in those legs, man.
I did not know
that. A lot of people shit on Yedlin, and I don't think it for no reason. Yedlin's a good player. I like him a lot.
You want to talk shit about DeAndre Yedlin? I will come to your house and I will fight you.
Okay, so where are we on Shaq Moore? What is
we're way past Shaq Moore, but we were good with him. Yeah, because he's
we're okay with him.
I mean, he gives you the same thing that you don't have to change your plan, because he gives you the same thing as Dest and Robinson and Scouty.
Yes.
And he can play on the right or the left. It doesn't matter.
And the same thing as Reggie Cannon, which is the guy who got left at home. I'm like, and maybe
Shaq Moore went instead of Reggie.
That's the thing. Now
anyway.
Back to
give us the forwards, James.
I thought I did. It was Jesus Ferreira, Jordan Morris, Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna. I did. Tim Weah, Josh Sargent, Haji Wright. Now there's a lot of good names. Guys, Josh Sargent, you know what? He's out of favor. He's out of favor in my head, but dude's tall. Dude's a ginger. Dude's a king. Dude knows how to fucking play soccer. He's kind of like that, like, if he shows up, if the right Josh Sargent shows up, I think he's the starter. What do you feel about that?
I agree. I think he is the starter.
I think. You know what I think Gregg's gonna go with?
Go.
I think Gregg goes with Sargent against Wales. I would like to see it. Personally,
I wouldn't be surprised if Sargent doesn't start against Wales and England.
If he starts against both or doesn't start. I'm sorry.
No, does
start.
Yeah, because
are you seeing Haji Wright as the third striker then?
No. I'm seeing it as like fluid, because I'll say this. I think against Wales, you'll 5 subs. You're always going to sub off the striker unless we had unless our Christian, unless our Pulisic was our striker, right? So you're always going to sub the striker. So I feel like in the Wales game, Sargent's the starter, Haji Wright comes on. I feel like in the England game, Sargent's the starter, Ferreira is going to come on.
Well, that's my question. Where the hell does Jesus Ferreira really fit into this? Is he the weakest of the bunch?
I think, unless Conor's got another idea about this, I actually am more happy about Ferreira than I have ever been. Because I'll say this, he does something kind of odd. He makes really good runs. He's more of a center forward than he is like a striker.
Yes.
But
that's what I was going to say. I was going to contradict that. Jesus Ferreira plays like a center forward. He drops way too deep to be considered a striker.
But that's what Pulisic does sometimes.
Well, he plays on the right wing, but how far does he drop?
Right, okay.
He doesn't drop clear in the midfield.
Well, but we'll need that as like a sub in the England game.
True.
Because we'll need to try and control the ball. That's the thing. True. I feel like this. I don't agree with this, but I feel like Gregg is saying we don't need PFOC because even though Ferreira is not the big body guy, he actually does holding up the ball like a big body guy. Because he comes to get it so far back.
And you brought Haji Wright instead of PFOC. They brought Haji Wright instead of PFOC. That seems clear.
Which is, I feel like it's because Haji is a closer. Because I feel like Haji's closer to Sargent.
Well, I think Haji's closer to Gregg, to be honest.
Well, here's the thing.
Haji's gotten time. Sorry.
Also, Haji Wright came up through the youth system with Pulisic and Reyna and Aronson and all those guys.
Yes, there's a familiarity.
And that's a good thing. You know who you're playing with.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I feel like Haji is like I said, if we get bounced out of the group, he'll play 1 game as a sub. If we advance further, he might get 2 games. I feel like we'll make it to the quarterfinals. I don't know why. I just got that gut feeling. I would like that. I feel like I said earlier, Lan, I feel like it only takes a few bounces of the ball one direction or the other.
It's true.
And like you said, we're in the quarterfinals or we don't get out of the group.
I feel like this team has something brewing. I really do.
Oh, that's what I was going to say about Ferreira as well, is I actually like the fact that he choked in the playoffs. Because I feel like that's his chance to have crumbled under pressure. Mm-hmm. And now it's he knows what it's like and it's time to go do business at the World Cup.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Because he's not bad. He just played awful in the playoffs. He had a great season, right, but he choked. He just did. And it's not listen, I I would like to stay right here, even though I didn't necessarily say it online to the man. I would like to apologize about all the things I thought about Chris Wondolowski after the last time we were in the World Cup. But I like that Ferreira just choked in the playoffs, and now he can redeem himself.
Okay, so it's what time is it? It's 10:07. I got a sink full of dishes, and I'm tired, and I just want to get this last couple of things out, and then I'll dip. Haji Wright. All right, hear me out, fellas. I like Haji Wright over Pepe a lot. Haji Wright is a big body, and he gives us something different up top. Let's say it's the 75th minute against England. We're down 1-0. You sub in Haji Wright as a second striker, and we can switch to a 4-4-2 or another two-striker formation, and we can say, all right, go get us a goal. And I feel like he can use that big body frame